Hello and welcome back everybody to our next tense masterclass video. Today we are focusing on the present perfect tenses, and there are actually two types of perfect tense. We have, of course, in all three times, past, present and future, we have the simple perfect, present perfect. And we also have the perfect continuous, occasionally called or sometimes called the perfect progressive. But I call it continuous, that's just my style. You might be thinking, oh no, I've heard the perfect tenses are difficult. Well, in actual fact, they are slightly more advanced in terms of using them and using them accurately. However, it's good that we begin learning them now and start practicing now. And of course, throughout the duration of the course, we will revisit tenses at points and go over some of this information again and go into a bit more detail. So consider this your introduction or sort of your first workshop into the present perfect tenses. And today, of course, we'll be going through the present perfect and present perfect continuous. Okay, so past participles. I mentioned this in our first lesson on verbs. Past participles are really important in all perfect tenses. So you may have seen this before with me. I've talked about base forms of the verb, past forms of the verb, and the past participles. At times, they are also called verb 1, V1, verb 2, V2, and verb 3, V3. So I may start referring to each form as this, V1, V2, V3, but also other teachers in the future or other resources may use this language. So just so that you are aware now. Okay, one thing you may be saying to yourself, David, where is the ing verb, the gerund?
Well, it's not actually in this table, and that's because ing verbs, gerunds, are actually nouns. Really important to note. These ing verbs, as sometimes I call them, they're actually nouns when we use them, and they're really important in different tenses too.
Okay, so just a bit of information on verb forms and past participles. I have also included after this lesson a list of 40 plus really important verbs, really common verbs with corresponding verb forms V1, 2 and 3. So definitely something really useful to look at, to memorize, to practice with. So check out those verb forms in the PDF after this lesson. Okay, so let's begin with present tense, the present perfect tense, which is, of course, here. Now, we use the present perfect to talk about a past action that still has an effect today. So something that happened in the past but has an effect today, such as John has gone to work. He went to work sometime before. We don't know when. It's not really too important, but he has gone now as well. The effect is he's not here. He has gone to work. And to make the present perfect, we have subject plus has or have, depending on the type of pronoun, plus the past participle form of the verb, and plus the object. That's the basic structure of the present perfect tense. John has gone for a walk. So John left to go for a walk before some time, and he's still gone. He has left and he is not here now. So my subject is John. Because this is third person singular pronoun, I use has. John is a he. John has gone. The past participle, so V1, go. V2, went. V3, past participle, gone. John has gone for a walk. just a noun at the end, walk. Okay, let's look at another example. We have forgotten our schedules. Of course, we have could become we've as a contraction, a little bit advanced. We have forgotten our schedules. So we is not third person singular. We have forgotten. V1, forget. V2, forgot. V3, forgotten our schedules. So we forgot the schedules earlier. Therefore, we don't know where to go. The effect is we are lost. We don't know where we need to be. So something that happened in the past that has an effect today. Okay, so how can I use this in negative sentences? So subject plus hasn't, haven't. Of course, contractions has not, have not, plus past participle plus the object. Let's look at an example. She hasn't flown in an airplane. Aeroplane even. She hasn't flown in an aeroplane. So she's never at any point in the past been in a plane. The effect is maybe, there could be a few, she's nervous, she's excited, possibly as well. Okay, and they haven't seen their test results. Again, sometime in the past, they haven't seen them. They still haven't seen them. Maybe they want to see the test results now. Maybe they're worried, nervous. There is an effect. So, of course, he, she, it, third person singular pronouns. We use has or hasn't, has not. And then we have I, you, we, and they, plurals. They have, you have, we have. So have or haven't, have not. So this is the negative form of the present perfect. Just one more example on usage. So I will go into more specific types of use later in the course, get a bit more advanced, but just thinking about past event and the effect now. My friends have gotten very sick. So at some point in the past, probably not a long time ago, because sicknesses don't last, hopefully, too long, my friends have gotten very sick. So the past event was my friends got sick. They became, you could use another verb, became sick. And the current effects are they are still sick now. They haven't recovered. Or it could be that they're getting sicker, possibly. So there's an implied, a suggested effect here. And this really is the general usage of the present perfect, a past event with current effects. Again, we will go into more detail later in the course. Okay, so in question form, so this is how we make questions using the present perfect tense. These 6 awesome W words here, plus have or has, and then our pronouns with past participle. We can add some detail, maybe some clauses here, and a question mark. Here's an example. What have I done? Now, this sounds strange, and it would probably be a question asked to yourself, known as a rhetorical question. So it might be, I'm talking to myself out loud. What have I done? Maybe I made a big mistake. Maybe I dropped something like my laptop. Oh, what have I done? And so that would be the structure just in this sort of form. How about this? How has he slept in that tent? Some element of surprise there. How has he slept in that tent? I suppose it's a surprising that the person could sleep in this poor quality tent or whatever it may be. How has he slept in that tent? And we have the detail in blue there. So definitely useful table to use. You can pause the video, of course, and have a go at creating some questions here. Post them in the Q&A section. It would be great to see that. Okay, so let's move on. We're now on to the present perfect continuous, aka also known as progressive. So quite a mouthful, quite a long name, present perfect continuous. But don't be worried, it's still just a matter of understanding the simple steps to making the structure. And of course, here's an example. It has been snowing all day. So we use the present perfect continuous to talk about a past action that's still happening now, or it's still in effect now. So let's see an example. Of course, subject plus has or have plus been plus the gerund, our verb ing, and then the rest of the sentence, the object. So let's see this. You have been learning English today. So at some point in the past, you started learning English and you are still learning now. How do I know this? Because you're watching the video, you're listening to me speak now. You have been learning English today. A bit more advanced now. A contraction here. The phone's been ringing for ages now. The phone's been ringing for ages now. It started ringing before, let's say 30 seconds ago, and it's still ringing now. In other words, please go and pick it up. Please go and pick up the phone. But the advanced part here, now I wanted to throw in some slightly more advanced contraction. The phone has. Phone, it, third person singular. The phone has been ringing for ages now. So generally, native English speakers probably wouldn't say, the phone has been ringing for ages now. It's slightly more difficult, more effort to say this with the has. We'd probably just say, the phone's been ringing for ages now. It's easier to say, it's less stress with the mouth. Similarly, you can also say, you have been learning English today. We can contract this to, you've been learning English today. The present perfect continuous with a contraction. Quite advanced and definitely something that sounds more native. But again, don't get worried at this point. This is definitely a more advanced tense. But consider this either your introduction or review, depending at the stage of your level of fluency. Okay, next up, for the negative form, hasn't, haven't, been gerund, and then complete the sentence. She hasn't been sleeping a lot. So, in the past, not sleeping well. The effect now, still not sleeping, possibly very tired. We haven't been working for 2 weeks. Sounds quite good in a way, but possibly not too. We have not been working for 2 weeks. So there is the negative form of the present perfect continuous. Okay, let's take a look at the question form of this tense. So, as always, we use the 6 W's and plus have or has, depending on the pronoun, and then I, you, whichever pronoun we're using, plus been plus verb ing, which is called the gerund, or not in the verb 3 form. So it's not verb 1, verb 2, verb 3. Just call this the gerund. And here is an example. Have you been sleeping? So I'm asking somebody, did you manage to sleep? Have you slept at all? Have you been sleeping in the past and now? So the question form is really asking two questions. Did you sleep in the past? Are you sleeping now? Have you been sleeping? It almost asks two questions. Did you sleep before? Are you sleeping now? Have you been sleeping? Here's another example. Why has she been crying? So she cried before and she's still crying now. Why? Why has she been crying? What happened? Just a couple of examples for you in regards to forming questions in the present perfect continuous. So this is our Mastering the Basics lesson over for now for present perfect continuous. And I think it's time that we have a look at a load more examples in the animated section of this lesson.